Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. It is Binky here today with another video, and this one is actually a brand that I actually haven't bought a lot. It's interesting because I do like some luxury brands. I do buy some here and there, but for the most part I tend to keep it kind of middle and under. Not that I'm against it, but a lot of the time you're kind of paying for the name. And fair enough. I mean, you know you're getting into that when you're buying these items. So they can be a little bit pricier for the amount that you're getting. So I discovered Dior, not that I discovered it, it's been around forever, from before I was born, but I started using some of their makeup, or bought some finally, because nothing really interested me until Birds of a Feather was released this fall. And I ended up picking up the one palette that everybody wanted. It was blues and greens. It really was that fantastic. I'm going to be honest with you, it's fantastic. I love that palette. It's a beautiful palette. It made blues and greens very wearable, and I think that's what Dior is kind of known for. It's classic. It's something that I think when I think of Dior makeup, I think of classic makeup. I don't think of anything that's really over the top experimental, but I feel like that palette actually was like probably the most experimental that Dior got. You know, even when you see some of the brighter palettes, I've seen people try them and they're just very muted, and that's fine because that's, I think, more of the clientele. It's more of a muted look. You don't, when you think of Dior, you don't necessarily, you think of classic. You don't think of, you know, these really bold, wild looks a lot of the time. At least I don't. So maybe that's just me, but I think of just classic lines and looks and things like that, you know. But so I tried the Birds of the Feather and I was really surprised by it, and the quality was really great, and it was really hard to get. I was one of the lucky ones, and I love it. I really think it was worth the hype. Fantastic. Just so unique. And there isn't a lot of unique these days, so I really liked it. So I was interested in the holiday collection. I'm like, you know, this is me. You know, go all in, basically. And that's the problem sometimes. This year I'll be knocking that down a little bit. But I saved up a lot of money this year for things that I didn't buy, with shoes and things. I have a video of that coming out, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy some of this collection. Yeah, because Christmas is my big spending time for beauty products. So, you know, hopefully you can skip past all this and move on to the actual review. So I did end up getting a couple items, including a very large item, which is interesting in itself. I'll show that in a minute. But I ended up getting one of the blush, and then one of the new Atelier of Dreams, I think it is. Yes. So this is just, the packaging's really beautiful, and when you get it from actual Dior, because usually I buy things from Sephora, but Sephora never got the limited edition things, which is really odd, except for one item. But it comes in really nice packaging. Like, they send you a really nice box, and it's just put together really well. It's very classy. It's amazing. If you buy it from somewhere else, they just kind of throw it in the box like they don't care. I don't think that's how Dior expected it, but if you buy it directly from Dior, the packaging is just fantastic. But, you know, it's very classic, very, you know, classy packaging, exactly what you'd expect. So I did end up getting the more cool tone version. There was two palettes put out for the holidays. One was more warm tone, and the other one was definitely more cool tone, which I like. I really like that as a cool tone girl, because everything is so warm tone. So again, beautiful packaging. And then you open it up, and actually they normally have plastic over it. I just remove it, and you have a very, you know, nice little window that you can look into this. And I just realized, like, this lipstick is very warm tone compared to this look. Yeah. That's okay too. You can do that, break those rules. But it matched the coat I was wearing earlier. So this is what it looks like. I'm sure you've seen these before. It's always like the 5 in here. I think I've seen a 4. No, it's always the 5 with the Dior in the middle. And this is what it looks like. So it's very much going back to the neutrals. Last year, from what I understand, was a little bit darker. I've seen some of the pictures. I did not pick up anything. I didn't get anything until this year. So they give you these two brushes. I mean, I don't really use those. I don't know if anyone really uses those, but maybe they do. Maybe they're good. I don't know, but it's not my scene. But this is what it looks like. So I have used this several times, and I'm going to be honest with you. you're really only going to get pretty much 2 or 3 looks from this, depending what you're trying to get, because it just doesn't have a lot of variety to it. So these two are very, very similar. And then these two aren't. You know, these 3 are distinctive, but these 2 are not. So I do want to point out that with somebody of my skin tone, this palette was a little bit difficult, and I'm going to show you why. So if I go into the 2 lightest ones, like I am, they are on my finger. They sure are, but you can't really see it. Excuse me. So I'm going to do it again. And there you go. They're both on my finger. They're now both on my arm. You can't see it. So now this has nothing to do with the quality of the eyeshadow, though I will say that this one is a little bit more clay or doughy than this one. Like, these are easy to work with, but this one I found to be very difficult. It just is, you really have to dig your finger into it to get it, or you can use a brush. And I do use brushes for some of these, but for the most part, I feel like it's almost better to use your fingers on some of these. Yeah, it's an interesting formula. It's different than most formulas I'm used to. So the issue was when I tried to wear it, I realized that it wasn't working. Now I have all the colors on my eye right now. I used every single color, and you really, you can't really see those 2 on somebody of my skin tone. So right there, that kind of knocks out 2 shadows for me. So I'm basically paying, you know, the higher price tag for 3. Okay, I didn't expect that, but it is what it is. So if you have like medium skin tones, or even like medium light skin tones, and up, this stuff is going to show up, these shadows are going to show up on you better, those 2 lighter ones. But if you're really fair like myself, you may be a little bit disappointed because it's the exact same shade as your skin tone. Yeah, these guys. So then you have these beautiful yet standard kind of neutral colors, and they work really well, except for this one. I think a lot of people were really excited about that, as they should be. It really truly is a beautiful color. So it's not like you can see the one that I have on there, so we're safe to go ahead and do this. So this is what the rest of the palette looks like, and it's really beautiful, especially that silver. Yeah. Oof. And that brown, just so you know, stains. That brown is staining, and that's fine. That's fine. It actually works really well. But this is what the whole palette looks like. This taupe color is just absolutely beautiful. And so that's what you're seeing on the middle of my eye more, is this color. These didn't even show up. I mean, this one a little bit more, but it doesn't really that big of a difference. So it's kind of like, what? But these are just gorgeous. That's the majority of what you're seeing. So again, if you're fair like myself, you're paying for those 3 shades, and they're absolutely beautiful. I love this silver. I absolutely love this silver color. I think it's just really pretty. You know what it is? It's not necessarily just a standard silver. It has a little bit of lilac in it. Yeah, just like a tad bit of lilac, and it just makes it a little bit more interesting and wearable. It kind of reminds me of Kaleidos. They have a shade very similar to this, but it's a little bit more rosy, and it's absolutely gorgeous. There's something about a silver that's just not plain silver, but has some kind of like purple rosy color put into it. It just makes it so beautiful and so modern. Not that silver's not modern, but I think sometimes the starkness of silver can be a little bit much, but if you add that rosiness, it's just absolutely fantastic. So again, I wore this palette for a week. To be honest with you, you're not going to be doing a lot of crazy different looks with it. There's just no way to really do that, because it's not that type of a palette, you know, especially with these being very similar and these being what they are. And the only one I really had problems with, besides just the coloring, was this one. Again, it just is hard. You really got to dig in there, and even then, it just barely pulls up the color. It's very pearl. You know, there really isn't anything, and really dig in there, there really isn't a matte per se. It's kind of like a pearly, like satin, what these are, except for the brown one. The brown one actually is like a brown purple. It looks more brown in the palette, but in the swatch it has like a little bit of purple to it, like a plum. It's like a brown with a hint of plum to it, which is just absolutely beautiful. This one is matte. I mean, if it's more satin, I can kind of see it, but it works as a matte. And so that's what's really nice. Now, if you know me and my channel, I have, you know, I'm very fair, so I don't tend to use colors this dark, or they're just too dark for me a lot of the time. Unless I'm doing a smoky look, I tend to go for a very natural look. This was so easy to use that I actually didn't care. Like, you dip your brush in there, and then I powdered a little bit in the corner, and then I just buffed it out, blended it, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And I normally avoid colors like this, but it is so easy to work with. The formula on this is just gorgeous. It's like one of the best browns of this color, especially of this depth, that I've ever used, because it is so hard for me to find shadows that work. And so this is just absolutely wonderful. So if you're fair like myself and you don't want a lot of dark, you know, especially during the daytime, you don't want the smoky look, you can make this work. Tap your brush in there and just make sure you really just blend it out. You can't even really tell. I mean, you can see it there, but it just blends out beautifully. It's just gorgeous. This one works exceptionally well. As pretty much all of them work well, except for this one. I find there's always that one in the palette that's just like, which is a little frustrating, but you know, it is what it is. This is just gorgeous. This color is just gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful. I just love it. And it just blends with the other colors so well. Believe it or not, it really can blend with this one. And that's kind of what I did. And it just, they blend together beautifully. It's just beautiful. Or you could just go with this across the eye and then deepen it with this. Or you can skip that completely and then just go with these colors. And you know, if you have deeper skin tones than me, then these will show up better than they do on me. But they're just, it's just absolutely beautiful. I love it. I've done a few looks with this and I absolutely adore it. So yes, that is that one. So then I was really intrigued by the blush, and this is called Hologram. And I know, you know, this has been released before and people were really excited that it came back because apparently it sold out really quickly. It's still available. Both these items are still available. I think most of the collection is, except for the 5-pan shadows and the clutch. But they do pop back here and there, so you can get them. You can get them. But this one, this is what I'm talking about. This is Hologram, the blush. It has this on it. There you go. So this is what it looks like. And what I love about it is the design on it. It's just gorgeous. It's that cityscape. Now it's a unique color. I don't know if you can read it on camera, but it kind of shifts between peach and pink. It's pearlescent. Now I am wearing it, and I have to say, I'm going to be honest, when I first put it on, I was a little bit disappointed the first time I wore it. I have powdered, but of course, with my natural oily skin, it breaks through within 5 minutes. So the thing is with this, is that at first it took a lot for it to show up, and I have fair skin. I'm like, yikes. It didn't show up as well as I wanted. But then I realized I just needed to use a stiffer brush. So use a stiffer brush with this. It's kind of, it's baked. So because it's a baked type blush, it's going to take a little bit more work to get it on your brush. But this is what it looks like. If you can get in there, it looks very pale, as you can see. Let me see if I could put it here. It's really hard to see. It is really hard to see. And you know, it takes a little bit of work to pick up. Very pretty once it gets there, but it's going to take you a little bit of work. I did make it work. It is on there. It's extremely light, but it's there. What's interesting is you can see the shifts of pink on there, and it almost gives you a natural highlight rather than adding a highlight. I did add a little bit of a highlight, but you don't even need it, because once it's on there, it creates its own kind of dewiness and its own highlight. That's what I like about it, but it is a very difficult color to get onto the cheeks. But once it is, you have to really dig into it. But once it is, it's quite beautiful. It just takes a little bit of work. I wonder, again, if this would look better on, you know, medium skin tones and up, because the color would show better. I think maybe it's just, it is on there. You can definitely see it, but again, just a couple shades pinker than my normal skin, so it doesn't pick up as well. I think, you know, with darker skin tones than my own, this will pick up more beautifully and it'll show a little bit better. But it's absolutely beautiful when it's on there, and you can see the beautiful shift. It's just, it is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. But if you are of fair skin like myself, you may find that it's a little bit difficult, but once it's on, it is very beautiful. It gives you a very natural rosy look. It's what I like about it too is that it's very easy to work with once it's on. You can use powder and spread it out, and it moves beautifully, and it looks very natural. It doesn't like stick onto your face. It moves, you know, so you can really blend it out, and that's what I really like it. It is a lovely color once you get it to work. So the other thing that I ended up getting was, and unfortunately they put fingerprints on that. That is not mine. But I mean, I'm not getting it for a collector's item. I actually will use the lipstick and stuff. But that's just, if somebody was, they would be very disappointed. But I did end up getting the clutch. Now, normally I will pick up some collector's items here and there. I have some really beautiful, like from Sulwhasoo and stuff like that. I hope I'm saying it correctly. I know how to spell it. It's a Korean brand, and they have the compacts and things. I do pick up those every once in a while. I love really pretty pieces, and I hope to display them eventually one day. I just love them. I don't have a lot because I don't have a lot of space in New York City. I don't want to be that guy, but I do have some. And I was curious about this, and I did get it with a little bit of a discount. So from where I got it from, I had a discount. It did pop up at Sephora quickly. So I did not pay full price for this. So that's kind of why I got it, and I will save those cards and things for items like this. So this is what it looks like, and it's kind of interesting because it again has that like building sequence on it. And then I haven't quite figured it fully out. I don't know if this comes off. I don't think it does. I think it stays on, and that's where you pop your lipstick. And this is where the extra lipsticks are. I haven't really experimented with trying to pull anything off. So you may be able to, but I have not. And then you pop this off, and then this comes out. You could switch any of the colors in. I really do think you could pop that off. And somebody's going to watch this and go, you know, you can. I'm afraid I'm going to break it. So I don't want to do that. But it's pretty nice. And then inside they give you a chain, which I have on this side. And so you can use it as a clutch, which is actually kind of cool. I don't know if I would use it as that. I've read online that people have, and they absolutely adore it. They're like, it's so cool. You know, it's a very interesting, innovative idea. It's kind of cool. So yeah, you get a mirror inside, and the bottom dropped off, and it's really quite beautiful. It's really beautiful. So maybe that's a sign that I should try some of these on. I actually have not tried these lipsticks. I know some people collect these or try to sell these. I'm not going to do this. I bought this for myself. So let's try these on. So you know with Dior that these are going to be mostly reds. This is what I've learned, is Dior really loves the reds, again, the classic colors. And I did look at these, and I kind of wish they varied a little bit more. I'll put the colors to the side, but this is more of a velvet color. It's absolutely beautiful. So beautiful, just the color. They always smell like perfume too, which is interesting, but okay, so this is just a beautiful cherry red, and it's you know, one of those matte types, you know, the powder kiss type that you get from MAC. It's exactly that type of formula. Very comfortable, very smooth, very strong perfume smell. So if you don't like perfume smells in your lipsticks, you're not going to love this. I don't mind it. I like strong scents, so I'm okay with it, but I can see why people wouldn't. This is such a pretty color. It did take a little bit to build up. It was a little bit patchy at first, but after I got it on, I was like, okay, it's really, really beautiful, really, really classic. You can't go wrong with the color like this. It's just bright cherry and beautiful. I love this, and it goes perfect with the cool tone palette. I'm sure it would go beautiful with the warm too. It's just gorgeous. Okay, so again, I'll put these to the side. I can just see it's 858. I don't know if these are from the core line, or I don't think these are from the holiday one. I think these are just regular ones. Kind of wish it was the holiday, but that's okay. So here's this one. Oh wow, that one's really pretty. I like this one. It's more of like a warm tone kind of brick red, which is just lovely. And it's yeah, they're arguing. That's what they do. So it's really just quite beautiful. It's really just moisturizing and just went on beautifully. And it's just this gorgeous brick red color. I love it. I love it. This is more of a color that I would go for. I usually like it a little bit more cool tone. That's just because I'm a cool tone gal. But I don't care. This is so beautiful, especially around this time of year through winter, you know, fall and winter. It's just like, that's a beautiful red. So the next one is 466. And I thought these were minis looking at them, but these don't look like minis at all. It's kind of interesting. And they had like markings on them and things. So just really pretty. Now this one's unique because this is like a peachy kind of color, or peachy coral. So this is just unique. It's not, I thought everything would be reds. Oh wow. Wow. That one's really pretty. I didn't think I'd like this one because I'm not always a huge fan of colors like this, being that I'm a cool tone girl. But ooh, this one has like pearl to it. It's pearlescent. Really moisturizing, just pretty. Oh wow, that is a really pretty color. I would wear this during the summer, like all day, every day. Oh, even now during the fall, it would be really beautiful. That is just gorgeous. Ooh, I love that color. I never would have picked it on my own, so I'm glad it was included because I never would have picked it. I wouldn't have. And so it's just so beautiful. That is probably my favorite. And then last, 873, which is another red. It's more of like it looks like a maroon or burgundy red, which I love those. So this is more of a cool tone. Okay, so I went because it's small, because there's not much of a base, the way that it's made, my bottom lip hit the metal part of this, or the plasticky part, the silver part. So that's why I went because it hit that part. There's not a lot of room because these are very compact. So it was kind of a shocker. But this is a very pretty color, actually. It does take a bit to build up. It's a little bit sheer at first, so you're going to have to really kind of go in there. But it is really pretty. It's more of, it's a slight metallic. It's not like a crazy metallic. I know some people don't like metallics. I love metallics, but this is a very slight metallic, and I just think it's absolutely beautiful. I was a little bit sloppy there. That's when the incident happened. Yeah. So I actually really, really like this one. It just takes a little bit more to build. Takes a little bit more to build, but whatever, it's still really pretty. And if you think about it, so I think these are probably from the main line. I was hoping that they were the holiday collection ones, but those are limited edition, so that was just me being greedy. But you can put you can put a chain through this, and then you can wear it. Like I said, it's supposed to be like a clutch, which is interesting. I would imagine this comes off. I will figure this out. Hey, look, I am not a mechanic, but it can't be that difficult. I'm sure it just pulls, but I don't want to mess it, so I'll do some research. But I would be more inclined to do that with just this part, not this. But that kind of defeats the purpose because this holds your lipstick, you know what I mean? But I like this aspect, but I'm not the type to really wear designer stuff and then show it to people. That's not really my style. I know some people, they're like, why not? It's beautiful, wear it, wear it. If that's how you do it, go do it. honestly. But for me, I just don't do that. Usually, I think somebody gave me like a purse once that they had, and it was designer. And I remember I'd always turn it so the designer was on the inside so nobody could see it, so it'd be against me. I don't know. It's not because I have any problem with other people doing it. I have friends who buy $2,500 bags. I can't afford that, you know, so good on them. Or they save their money. It's not like they have tons of money sitting around where they could just do this. It's a very special item once a year. Nothing wrong with that. It's your money, do whatever you want. So there's never any judgment from me. But that's just not necessarily my style, you know. But it's beautiful. I don't regret it, especially with the price, with the lipsticks. So you get 4 lipsticks plus this. That's actually a pretty good deal, especially because I think the Dior lipsticks run about $40 a piece. So basically you're getting those 4 lipsticks. If you have most of these lipsticks, it may not be as happy for you. But for someone like me who doesn't really have any Dior lipsticks, you know, only a few, this is perfect. This is just perfect. So I love this. And, you know, it was $190. Again, I had some discounts, so it was a lot more palatable than that. But yeah, so that is the collection for the holiday. I will say, I was so impressed with Birds of a Feather. I was just so impressed with that. So I had really high hopes for these. I do think the palette is gorgeous. But again, if I had to do it all over again, I probably wouldn't pick it up because I have something similar to this with the Kaleidos silver that they have in one of their 6 pans. And these are absolutely gorgeous. This is the best that I've ever used at this color. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But these don't even show up on me. So in the end, it kind of doesn't make sense for why I got this. Now, the blush at first I was very disappointed with. I was thinking, do I return this? But I don't like to do that because then they just throw it away. Yeah, these things are expensive, but I'm actually glad I kept it because I do feel like it does show up. I'll probably get through it very quickly because I really have to dig in there. But it is what it is, you know? So I do think it's a good collection. I just think you have to look at the price point. If that's what you're interested in, if you like Dior, then you're probably going to pick this up. But if you have fair skin like me, you may want to skip this one. I don't have the warm one, so I don't know how that fares in comparison. But it's just something to look at if you're looking at this. And sorry, the video is a little bit late. My other computer is broken. So I had this filmed, yeah, a couple weeks ago. So there we go. There we go. But I'm getting it up now. So there you are. So let me know what you think. Are you interested in picking up any of these pieces? I know the clutch is very hard to get, but a lot of these pieces do keep popping up. So you can sign up for a reminder when they're back in stock. And I have gotten them. And that's how I was able to get it. So it does happen. So let me know what you think. And with that, have a fabulous day, my friends. Bye.